Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Hello everyone, welcome to this broadcast. My name is Gobind. This is your Channel for Grace. Thank you guys for watching this video live, and then thank you guys also for watching the replay. What we do on Friday nights is mini readings, so if you want to get on the list is open and there's plenty of room for tonight. The way you get on the list is you send $25 to my PayPal, which is paypal.me/Eagle Star Yoga, but there's a link in the description of the video, so you don't have to worry about memorizing what I just said. So that's how you get on the list for tonight. I'm really excited. I love Friday nights. We have a lot of fun. You can choose from a natal chart reading if you've never gotten one before. You can also choose a transit reading, which gives you insight into how the transits that are going on right now are affecting you. And then we also, you can also choose from tarot and oracle read if you have a question you want to ask. So that's how we do it on Friday nights. Thank you guys also for participating last night in our full moon in Scorpio ceremony. And if you have not heard the news yet, I do have an astrology course that has just launched on Tuesday, and it is called Aquarian Astrology. It is a level 1 astrology course. You can sign up by module or per module, which is $33 each module. And then module 1 is now available for purchasing outright on my website. And the link is also in the description of this video. So if you want to learn about the basics of astrology, the basics of a birth chart, the astrological, the history of astrology and the astrological ages, and also the language of astrology, so all of the signs and the modalities and the elements, all those things that are really important to know to get that basic understanding of astrology so you can understand your own chart, are in that class, and so much more. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description of the video. And also, if you guys want to sign up for my newsletter, I do send out a weekly newsletter called the Moon Magic Report, where I tell you the phases of the moon, the signs of the moon, and what aspects it's making to other planets and other major events in astrology as well. So it gives you a heads up on the energies of the week. And there's also a link below for that. So thank you guys for being here. Let's see who's actually in the chat tonight. We've got Red, Nappy, Summer, welcome in. Wendy, how's it going? Hi, Kristina G, how are you? Hey, Chad, hello from the stars. I hope you guys are having a good evening tonight, and we are going to get started with our mini readings. And we do have Chad on the list first. So, and I know you wanted to do a natal reading. So what I'm going to do is actually share your chart. Are you ready? Let's do this. I'll share your chart on the screen. I know, and you've never gotten a reading before. We've got 2 people on the list so far, so there's plenty of room if you guys want to sign up. I know, it's so cool. Hey, Rebecca, how's it going? First natal chart reading. Okay. All right, so you should be able to see your chart, and I go through some basic stuff, and then I'm going to go into a little more detail about generally what I see here. The first thing that actually draws my attention, Chad, is this grand cross or grand square that you have in your chart. And it's significant because grand squares are the type of aspects, or like, I guess, formations or alignments in your chart that actually, why are you laughing, Wendy? I always knew I wanted Jai to be my first. Well, with this specific alignment creates some tension in life or some obstacles in life that have to be resolved in order for you to feel fulfilled in a way, or to feel like you're actually moving forward in life. But let's go even more basic. You have your sun in Pisces, your Pisces sun, your Leo moon. You also have Scorpio rising. And it's funny because when I look at you or interact with you, or when I see you in your videos, I do feel that intense Scorpio energy, believe it or not. But I also feel a very strong Pisces energy. I don't know about you guys. So if you guys don't follow Chad, make sure you follow him. He's a amazing tarot reader, and he's got his own channel. And so you guys can follow him for that. But I feel the Pisces energy, but I also feel like a deeper aspect of who you are. That's like, it's there, but the Pisces is very strong as well. So let's see where Venus is at. And Venus is also right here in Pisces. So, and you know that Venus is how you love and how you are in relationships. So that means that you're a very loving individual in relationships. You're very compassionate. You probably love to communicate deeply, like have very deep conversations with people. You're also very sensitive. And so if you can get your feelings hurt easily. So here's something that I see. You definitely feel that. Here's another powerful thing. You have Saturn conjunct your sun. Saturn is the planet of responsibility. He's also the planet of discipline. He is the planet of our lessons, our life lessons. And so you kind of like began your journey in the world of communication in the 3rd house. But having Saturn conjunct your sun makes it so that you're actually you're serious. Like, you're serious about what you do. And you care a lot about what you do. And the way that you care for it is you're very compassionate. But you may have been, growing up, you may have been a child or a young boy that was really seen as more responsible at an earlier age than you would normally think of kids. That's what Saturn conjunct the sun means. It's like you have this essence of maturity about you. That's what that means. you have your north node in the first house, and they are both exactly, and it's conjunct Pluto, and it's also conjunct exactly to your rising. And then over here you've got the south node in Taurus, and they're always opposing. This is really interesting. You were very responsible growing up. Yeah, I know, right? Well, you have a very like fun aspect to you, and if we actually go to that, the fun part of it is in your moon, because you have that Leo moon. I have a Leo moon. So I understand, like, you want to play, you want to have fun, you want things to be exciting, you like joking around. Like, Leo rules the 5th house of creativity and fun and children. And so that is like, that's a big part of who you are too. Emotionally, you love to play and have fun. And that's where you see that in your chart. It's really cool when you put it all together, and you see all the little, where all these little like quirks come from, right? So here's what's really powerful. I'm going to look at this north node conjunct Pluto and conjunct your ascendant. So you are Scorpio rising. The Scorpio is very strong in your chart. Yes, it is really cool, Rebecca, because it means that your purpose is aligned with how you express yourself outwardly to the world. Having the north node in Scorpio is you're here to like live life to the fullest. You're here for all of it. Like, no part gets left behind. You're here to feel the deepest depths of your emotions. You're here to experience like drama and then not having drama in your life. You're here to literally just like be so immersed in life right now. That's what you want to move towards. And what's really cool is that you have Pluto conjunct the north node too. And Pluto is also in Scorpio, and this is all in your first house, which is who you are. Hey, Sparky. So the Scorpio Pluto is actually, Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio. And usually people that have Pluto in Scorpio, they have a lot of power. And people that have a lot of power or emanate a lot of power, people are drawn to they're drawn to you. They're drawn to you because you have a very strong pull. Like, it's almost like a magnetic pull towards you. Pluto is a very strong planet. He rules the underworld. And it being right there, it's almost an exact conjunction, because you have the north node at 27 degrees and Pluto at 28 degrees. So it's almost exact. They're only 1 degree apart. So it's a very strong conjunction. To me, what this says is that, like, you have ultimate power over yourself and over your life. Now, this is this is something that you want to move towards. You want to understand your power, because sometimes what this can be with all this Scorpio in the first house, and especially Pluto right there, what it can do is it can make it seem like you are sometimes a little bit controlling. So when we look over here at the 7th house, you have your south node in Taurus. And so this is where you come from. This is where you've been. And this is also what you're familiar with. So Taurus is the sign of stability. It's the sign of being grounded. In your 7th house of relationships, it is ruled by Venus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So there's an aspect here of Venus that is kind of aligned here in your 7th house because of that Taurus south node. But it is something that you want to move away from. So you want to move away from feeling like you want safety, like feeling that security is the only thing that feels right. you want to learn how to take more risks in your life. You want to learn to let go of the need to have that security, because Scorpio is like, it's not that Scorpio doesn't have security, but Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and so it's kind of like a wild card. It's all over the place. It can be all over the place. So that your job is to harness all that power and use it as an outward expression. And yeah, and also, I mean, here's another thing that's significant. So if we talk about, is that yeah, and it is hard because moving away from the South Node is it's what we're supposed to do in our life. We're supposed to move away from the South Node. We're not supposed to stay there. We're supposed to move towards the North Node. So it might be difficult for you to like accept that you are this powerful of a person, that you have this powerful of an effect on people, because with that comes responsibility. But what you need to pull from is the Saturn conjunct your sun, because the truth is that you are responsible. But you're not just responsible, you're responsible in a compassionate way. So you have this ability to understand people at that deeper level with the Pluto and Scorpio rising, and with the Pisces over here. I never felt a stable foundation or a safe environment growing up. So we have to look at, so it's interesting that you say that, because that's going to be sort of that's part of your learning how to manage that. Part of your purpose is to learn how to manage that. Manage when life feels like it's out of control, and take the reins. Like, take control again. Don't let yourself, like, don't let go of the wheel. That's the thing. So when you're telling me that you've had experiences where you feel like very unstable, yes, it's possible. However, the lesson is to take control of it, to not let it be out of control, to not let your life go out of control. Exactly, that will become your strength. Let's see what else is significant. So, so when we look at the grand square, it's basically a T-square that the moon makes to the north and south nodes. And then another T-square that is made by basically Mars and Mercury towards the nodes as well. So the communication is between the moon, your moon, and then Mars and Mercury. And you have Mars in Aquarius, which means that the way that you take action in life, your drive, is towards, first of all, it's intellectual. It's in the third house, which is naturally ruled by an air sign. It's very intellectual. You like to talk things out, think things through very clearly, but you want to come up with solutions that are good for everybody, which is a really good thing. But that's kind of at odds with your moon. So Aquarius is the sign that is like of the people, and your moon is in Leo, which is like, no, I'm the most important one. I'm the best. I'm the king. And the Leo moon makes it so that you have all this power, right? You have all this power with Pluto and North Node. However, because of the Leo moon, it's almost like you need someone to remind you of how amazing you are. The Leo moon needs to be told that it's valued. That's sweet. Yes, everyone can find a common ground where everyone is. Yes, but it is at odds. It is at odds with your Leo moon, which is like, but actually I'm the most important, or I'm the best. That's like the Leo moon. Not in a bad way. Leo moon is great. I mean, Leo moon makes it so that you have this, it's like you have the ability to be a personality, like on stage. Doesn't surprise me that you have a channel and that you feel very comfortable on camera. You know what I mean? Like that's a Leo moon right there. right, Wendy? Your moon is also in the 9th house of spiritual integration. So part of your journey is to learn to fully express yourself, but express yourself in a way that you have, okay, so you have this Leo energy here in the 9th house because you have a very powerful message to share with people. The message comes from who you are. It comes from your example. It comes from your power. It comes from power. So you have to somehow channel your power through and share it with people. Because Leo in the 9th house is the energy of you express and you bring out, by way of being being the center of attention, the spiritual wisdom, if that makes sense. And that's kind of what I see. I mean, there is some other aspects, like your Neptune conjunct Uranus in the 2nd house. That's interesting. I mean, Uranus in the 2nd house is like a very unique way of making money, but it's kind of restricted in the Capricorn sign. I don't think Uranus likes to be in Capricorn. It probably feels like it's too restricting, it's too limiting. But then the conjunct with Neptune, it's almost like, and Neptune is also in Capricorn. Both of these signs they're not going to like being in Capricorn. They feel a little restricted in the house of the finances and your relationship with the material world. Is it pretty mind-blowing? I love it. I know. So the cool thing about understanding your birth chart is that you get to have an opportunity to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, then you get to learn how to manage yourself. Because I'm sure that there's times that this energy here is very, 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 very strong. And it can make it so that you have a tendency to want to be in control of stuff. And that's what you need to let go of a little bit. But also learn how to, not let go, but learn how to control it. You have to learn how to control your powers. It's almost like it's almost like you wouldn't give a baby a gun, but it's like you have a gun. So you have to, like, you can't not learn how to use it properly. You know what I mean? That's whoa, that was loud. That's kind of what this means. Like you have to learn how to use your power properly. And the only way to do that is you have to understand who you are. But it's a really powerful chart. It's cool. It's cool that I'm looking at this right now. And then Jupiter over here in your 12th house, he actually expands this energy. He expands your ability to dive deep into the realm of the divine and the mystical. And to me, there's a connection with Jupiter and your 9th house here of Sagittarius and your moon. There's a lot of synchronicities in your chart. Hi, Darcy. Hi, Sparky. Good. Yeah. But Jupiter, so you have a deep connection to the mystical, to the like spirit guides, angel teachers. This is the house of mediumship too. So you have this ability to connect very deeply spiritually. You have many, many gifts, my friend. And I think you are using them in the right way. And there's more, but we could go on forever, right? So I hope that gave you some guidance. Yes, the list is open, you guys. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm excited you did too. It is super fun. These readings are super fun. So the list is open, you guys. If you want to get on the list and get a reading, natal, transit, or tarot reading, it's $25 to my PayPal, which is paypal.me/Eagle Star Yoga, but the link is in the description for that. So next on the list, and the list is fully open. We have Kristina on the list, and then we don't have anybody after that. Awesome. I love that. Total sea change from the last. Awesome, Sparky. Love that. Do it, Chad. Do it. We do. I do. I have, you know, for those of you guys that did know, I have a course, astrology course, that will teach you, for now, module 1 will teach you the basics of astrology. So you have a better understanding of when we look at the chart, what is going on there. There's so much information, you guys. It's crazy. It's going to take quite a while to get through all of the information, but by the end, you're going to feel like, wow, I get this now. So we have Kristina G next. So will you let us know what kind of reading you want? And then also, if you have a question, put it up. If you guys do book a natal or transit reading, make sure that you get your information ready, like your date of birth, the time that you were born, and the location, so I can pull up your chart. And I hope you guys are having a good Friday. There's been a lot going on, for me. I've been really, really super busy. Oh, thanks, Chad. That's really sweet. You have a broadcast tonight too, right? Like in 30 minutes. So we're going to add Valerie to the list. All right, general read for what's coming up. Let me put this down for a second. Okay. Let me actually burn a little bottle for these guys. And remember that if you do get on the list, you will get added to the drawing, the monthly drawing. Sometimes I give away a reading. This last month in April, I gave away a mala, one of the jewelry malas that I make. Thank you, spirit guides, angels, teachers. Please clear the energy of these cards, my energy for these readings. But you get on the list, so you might win something. You might win a reading, tarot or astrology, or maybe even one of my. You did too, Rebecca. Okay, I'll go check it, because maybe you're maybe. I just want to get the list correct. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you're after Valerie. Awesome. Okay. Oh, and Sparky too paid. Yeah, if you guys are requesting the astrology reading, make sure you have the info ready to post in the chat for when it's your turn. It makes it easier for it to flow for me, so I'm not having to jump around everywhere and find all the information. Okay, so general information for Kristina G. What does Kristina G need to know right now? What do you have for her? Why is it every time these crazy themes come up for you? Why? Oh my God. You're working on yourself, right? From what I remember, you're working on yourself. So interesting. And what's your sign again? You've got, I'll show you the cards. Oh, and then John got on the list too. Okay. Okay, so I'm laughing because I feel like you keep focusing, you keep, we keep doing readings for you, and you've been really, Libra, I knew it. You're working on yourself, and you keep getting these cards that are like relationship cards, which is so weird because the reading starts with the Lovers. The Lovers. So we have to think about this because you're not in a relationship and you're not maybe focusing on trying to get into a relationship. However, the Lovers card is here. But what does it mean when there's no relationship involved? This means that you are beginning a new relationship with yourself. There's like a new relationship arriving for you in some way, shape, or form. And the next card will reveal what that kind of looks like. And we've got the Knight of Cups, who is the card that brings a full cup. Like it brings a blessing. It brings this this beautiful an offering for you. An offering. So when you think of these two cards on their own, if we don't think about relationships, that's what they mean. They mean that you're starting a new relationship with yourself. Something beautiful is awakening, and it's making you feel full. If we look at this from a relationship perspective, if you want to know this part too, because I think I should say it, this means that what's coming for you is actually a relationship. And the Knight of Cups usually means like the knight in shining armor that comes and offers you what you've always been looking for. So you can take that symbolically or you can take that literally. I don't know. Like, I can't tell you exactly like this is the future and I'm going to predict the future for you. But that's the message. That's the symbolism here, is that something is arriving. It's being brought to you. Maybe it's coming from, your soul. Maybe it's coming from someone you know. Maybe it's, a friendship that's beginning. But some kind of relationship is beginning that is bringing you the fullness of life, the fullness of emotions. You are also moving very quickly right now. There's a very quick-paced energy. You have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is, it comes charging. It's almost like you can't stop the momentum of the Knight of Swords. But what I love about this specific card is the image in it. And the fact that she has a sword right there. And so she's thinking, she's using her mind, but she's also ready to dive into this portal, to dive into the unknown, to go into a whole new world. And I love the meaning of that card when you look at the image of it. And then this whole new world that you're moving forward towards comes up as the Magician. So it's almost like you're reawakening your own powers. Things are moving fast. You're learning how to use, in a way, it's like you're learning how to use your powers. You're learning how to alchemize things, how to create, how to manifest, because that is also the energy of the Magician. And it would be a really good idea, if you're not already, learning something new, a new skill that you can share with the world, because you get the Eight of Crystals. If I can, you can kind of see it, but it's the Eight of Crystals. And the Eight of Crystals is like This is a time for you to learn a new skill, to focus on work. I know. This is a really cool, like very positive reading. There's not a single card in here that's like a negative thing. Basically, it's like there's a new beginning. It could be a relationship. It could be something more generalized or symbolic, but it's a new beginning that's bringing you this fullness in life, and you're ready to jump in and learn to use your own powers and your own gifts. And so the recommendation is to actually go learn a new skill. If you haven't signed up for the astrology class, maybe that's one option. Or maybe you want to learn how to do whatever. You know, online courses right now are pretty much the way to go, because we're not, you know, everything else is restricted, but online courses are not. And there's a lot being offered online right now, and you can find whatever it is that you're drawn to. So very exciting reading. Sorry, I didn't mean to plug in my astrology class right there, but I was going with the online course. You know, like there's so much available out there that you got to go find it right now, because you got to find out, you got to learn a new skill and what you're good at. I love it. Awesome. Thank you for signing up for a reading. So we've got Valerie next. Valerie's next. Then it's Rebecca. Then it's Sparky. And then it's Dawn. You're welcome. My pleasure. And I'll go check the PayPal while Valerie's putting up her question. And Wendy was added as well. Transit reading. Okay. So let's pull up your chart. I wish I could play music in the background. I'm like wanting music in the background. All right, we've got 9/11. Dang, your birthday's on 9/11. It's kind of gnarly. Is it? Your birthday's September 11th, really? 8/32. Fort Wayne. Dude, I'm seriously so happy I waited. I really appreciate that. That's really sweet, Chad. Okay, so September 11th, 58. 9/11/58 at 8:32 a.m. in Fort Wayne. Okay, let's pull this up. Let's add the transits going on right now and take a picture. And we're going to open it and then show it to you guys. I know, right? I was like, wow, that was kind of weird to say that, but it's all good. Honestly, I'm like, exactly. People need to know about it. Okay, let's share the screen. Thank you, everyone, for being here and hanging out. Hanging out. Rebecca. I know, but it's like the copyright stuff. It's like there's no point, you know? We got stuck in Maui. Okay, just whatever I see. Okay, so here it is. Let's see what's most important right now. Okay, so you know how you're going through this like powerful shift right now in your own life? I don't know if you're still going to move, or I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, you're welcome, Chad. Thank you. But let's actually talk about Venus. Let's talk about Venus for you. Because Venus is all about relationships, and I know that you're going through a lot of like relationship stuff. So Venus is going to go retrograde next week, you guys. I'm still planning on making a video about this, but this is going to be of such a significant transit for everyone. We're all going to feel this very strongly. It's on hold. Okay, interestingly. Okay, so that is even more interesting when I tell you what I'm going to tell you. So, wow. So Venus is about to go retrograde. Now, Venus goes retrograde every 18 months. And every 9 months, so she goes retrograde, and then 9 months later she does this superior conjunction. When she goes retrograde, oh yeah, that's a good idea, Sparky. When she goes retrograde next week, I believe it's on Wednesday, but let me just double check, because I think it's on Wednesday. Yeah, so she goes retrograde next Wednesday. So basically we're all on hold right now. But this retrograde is going to culminate in a conjunction that is called the new Venus. And the new Venus conjunction is happening on June 3rd. So June 3rd is the conjunction while Venus is retrograde. And once it's done, when she's done being retrograde, well, before she's actually done being retrograde, on June 12th, she's going to reappear as the morning star. Right now, she's the evening star. And when she goes into this conjunction, when she goes into this retrograde, she's going to start moving backwards, and she's going to disappear from the sky. We're not going to see her. And when she does this, she's going to conjunct the sun, and it's called the inferior conjunction. So why is this significant? It's significant because the story of Venus, or when you think there's a Greek mythological story, I think it's Greek, it may not be Greek, but Inanna, we have to look up the story of Inanna, and I'm going to look it up more deeply, but the story is that Venus, every 18 months, she goes into the underworld. She dives into the underworld. We can't see her. She goes to rediscover herself. She goes to find things about herself that were lost. She goes to realign things. She goes to see the truth. And everything is basically put on hold because she's on this journey of discovery. Sumerian, thank you, Sparky. So let's look at what Venus is doing in your chart, where what she's going to be doing. So right now, she's in your 9th house of spiritual integration. She has moved into Gemini, and she's going to be in Gemini for the whole retrograde period. She moves closer to the North Node, which is also transiting your 9th house of spiritual integration. But she doesn't quite reach or conjunct the North Node. She goes retrograde and starts moving back. Or it's the opposite. The North Node is moving this way, and Venus is moving. It's going to be moving that way when she goes retrograde. Either way, it doesn't matter. Those are just specifics. But she's going to be retrograding in your 9th house of spiritual integration. So this journey for you is actually these next couple of months are going to be, during this Venus retrograde that starts on Wednesday, is going to be a very powerful, integrative, spiritually integrating part of your life, where you're going, you're following Venus down into the underworld. to learn a lot of things about yourself connected to your spirituality, your belief systems, things like that. So that's really significant because it's in the ninth house, and the ninth house is one of the I believe one of the most powerful houses. And that's really like the main thing that I see here. You know, your south node is transiting your third house of communication, so you may be having to like learn how to communicate, to observe more than to express, to move away from communicating in ways that makes it seem like you know more than what other people know. It's almost like a humbling experience of how you communicate and how you speak out. That's what's going on in your third house. And I think I've talked about this before, but the transit of the, you know, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn transiting your fourth house means a lot of shifting and changing, and like revolution is happening in your fourth house. So like even if you move or not, this whole situation for you has brought up so much regarding to what is home for you these last few years, and especially 2020. So the lessons that you're learning are in this realm, but you're also integrating it all because Venus, right, is in your house of spiritual integration. So there's a journey here that you're going to be taking in the next couple of months that is going to take you on a deep dive into the world of, you know, what do I believe in? What is my faith? What do I, you know, in regards to relationships, am I happy? Is this what I love? And then you have to make the changes. If the answer is this is not what I love, you have to make those changes. That's why it's going to be so challenging, because most people, they ignore, you know, the whole underworld thing or searching for different things in their life. They ignore it because they're afraid of the change. But this is a time to actually embrace the change and move forward along with the change and change with it. So if you're able to discover what you actually love, and if what you are doing right now is what you love, then you have to stay doing it. If it's not what you love, then you have to let go of it, and it has to be released and transmuted, right? And then you're also starting the cleanse. So pretty powerful stuff. So that's what I see. And I do wish you good luck with this transit. Okay, we've got Rebecca is next. Thank you, Valerie. It will. It totally will, Sparky. I firmly believe that. I know, Valerie. I know. Like, you gotta really ask yourself, is that what I really truly want? Why is it on hold? Why do I need to reflect on this? Like that. Ooh, I'm getting hot. Should not have worn this sweater. Oh my God, I don't know how to spell Tennessee. Oh, I got it. 11/23/78, 10:37 p.m. Jackson, Tennessee. I'm making an exception for you, Rebecca. But normally I do want you guys to post your information in the chat. Thank you. You did that. Hello, Noriko. Welcome. Okay. Natal reading? You want a natal reading? Sorry, Okay. So here it is. Have I looked at your chart before? Like on here? Okay, so here is your chart up on the screen. Okay, cool. Let's see. So you are Sagittarius rising, moon in Virgo. I mean, Sagittarius sun, sorry, moon in Virgo, Leo rising, Venus in Scorpio. You have a grand square too. And it is between Chiron, Juno, Venus, Jupiter. Wow. Dude, you have Juno opposed Jupiter. That's kind of intense. These are like interesting players. This is all about relationships. Jupiter, Juno, Venus. Chiron is healing, right? So Chiron is the wounded healer. In Taurus, you're learning how to value, what to value in your life. It has to do with your faith and what you believe in. Find like you have to learn what your faith is, and you have to find what you value when it comes to your belief systems. That's the healing journey that you're on. Venus square Jupiter is kind of, it's weird because Venus and Jupiter are both the benefics. So they bring really positive energy into your life, but when they're squared, it becomes this like obstacle, or it becomes a challenge to overcome. And it has to do with your relationships. And then Juno over here, right? She's all about marriage. And normally you would think Jupiter and Juno are actually, I think they are like the married couple. So they're opposite each other. So that means they're in conflict with each other. So this is like a big, this grand square is like a big challenge for you. And I think it has to do with finding a better way to communicate. So Venus is in the third house. You're being guided towards finding a better way to communicate. You're being guided towards finding what you value and what's important to you and what you believe in. And you're also being guided to, these are all the opposing forces, to be aware of who you are right here in the present moment. And also your connection to the mystical and the divine, which is expanded here in the 12th house of the subconscious mind. So there's a lot of, so it's almost like Jupiter is expanding your knowledge of what's out there. Like this, you can tap into the subconscious mind. But then you're in this tug of war between, what do I actually like live in the world of the subconscious? Am I really tapping in? And what do I do when I find myself, all over here on the other side in the present moment? Like, how do I reconcile this opposition between basically you know, like husband and wife, being pitted against each other. And, you know, you're over here trying to bring it home, bring it to the present moment. But over here, there's this pull towards kind of escaping in a way, escaping it a little bit. Let me see what else comes through. And that's a big deal because that's your grand square. It's all about relationships. I think you have to tap into the knowledge that you are already tapped into. You know, you have to call that in. You have to bring that forth. Channel it in a way. Because the duality between the 12th and the 6th house is Pisces channels into the present moment, right? We channel the divine into the mystical, into the here and the now. We are the prophets. The 6th house is like the prophet, and the 12th house is like the information that comes through. My ex was an escape and I didn't know. Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So when we let's look at your North Node. There's a relationship here because the Virgo naturally rules the 6th house and Pisces naturally rules the 12th. You have Virgo North Node. So it's, wow, this is crazy. You're having to move away from things being really unstable, from not knowing, from a lot of change, transformation. You are finding a little more stability in this life. With your North Node in the 2nd house, you're supposed to find more stability. You're supposed to, you know, you've had past lives that were very transformative, that were very revealing, that were almost like if in a past life you were like out there in the universe collecting all the information, you were like floating in the abyss. But now that energy has been channeled through and it's solidified in the here and the now. And there's a seriousness to it because you have Saturn right here conjunct the moon. That is an interesting conjunction. It's almost exact, not quite, but it's interesting because Saturn restricts your ability to express your emotions, and Virgo too. The thing about Virgo is it feels very, very deeply. The Virgo moon Virgos are actually very sensitive. And their desire to reach for perfection in their lives is most often very misunderstood. But when you have Saturn right here, it's almost like he doesn't let you feel. He's restricting your ability to express yourself. But that's your destiny. It's moon conjunct the North Node. That's part of your destiny, is to learn to find the perfection of life here in this world. Good. Is to learn to find the beauty of the here and the now. To live in the present moment, to analyze things, to look at the details of stuff, to feel comfortable with, to be okay with the fact that you do want things to look good and be good, and the details are important to you. They're very important to you. And you're coming from this place, you're very familiar. You're very familiar with the realm of like Neptune and Pisces in the 12th house. And now you're being called to channel that energy. Bring what you've learned, from like floating in the abyss. Bring it here. And express it here. Express it by with your relationship with your financial house, with your relationship to the material world. And Virgo is also an earth sign. So it matches the energy of the 2nd house of Taurus. Saturn, however, is in your first house, which means that also, like, just like having Saturn conjunct the sun, Saturn in the first house gives you this like seriousness. There's a seriousness about yourself. And also, just like Chad, you might have been a child that was more, people saw you as like more responsible for some reason. They saw you as very responsible. And learning how to be disciplined through your emotions is part of the process. Because when you think of Pisces, Pisces is so sensitive, right? If the moon was in Pisces, you would be so sensitive, it would be difficult to deal, to cope. But your moon is over here in Virgo, and it's conjunct Saturn. So maybe Saturn is giving you the discipline that you need to learn to stop escaping, right? Because that's part of Pisces, is to escape. Integrate all dimensions into the 3D experience. Yes, exactly, Wendy. You had very structured parents, I bet. But then you are also a Sagittarius sun. That's really interesting. And Uranus in the 4th house, which means that your childhood was anything but normal, especially with Sag Sun and Mars there and Neptune there as well. There's a lot. There's a lot in your chart. When the planets are like pretty spread out, there's so many aspects you can't really, you know what I mean, cover them in a short session. But there's a lot here, and it would take me a while to decipher what all of it, piece by piece, means. Sag does shake it off. I think you have learned probably to shake it off a little bit. But look at this. It's like you have, you know, your ruling planet is the sun. But your sun is in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, who is in your 12th house, which is your Pisces South Node. So that's like, whoa. Why is so much pulling you back there? That's a journey on its own right there. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. That's what I see today. You are, Rebecca, you are a very affectionate person. You are a very loving. You can feel that, right? You can feel that like that essence comes through you for sure. You're familiar with that like energy. Kind of, yeah, honestly, yeah, a little bit. Because if you link it all together, then that Jupiter is then Jupiter is opposed, right? Juno. You know, there's also a flavor of Virgo being kind of independent too, in a way you're learning learning independence, how to make your own decisions, you know, important decisions in life. You're welcome. So we have Sparky, Dawn, and then Wendy, and I'm gonna check the list. And we have added Jessica to the list. So we have room for 2 more on the list if you want to get on it. Sparky, do you want me to look at your natal chart, or do you want me to do a transit reading? Okay. If you want to be, there's room for 2 more people on the list. If you want to be added to the list, just click the link in the description for PayPal and send $25 and I'll add you to the list. Okay, let me make sure I have this correctly. I've got 11/18/73 at 4:21 p.m. Kingston, New York. Okay. Okay, so you've got Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Virgo, Taurus rising, Venus in Capricorn. So here's something interesting. You have North Node Sagittarius in the 8th house, South Node Gemini in the 2nd house, and the South Node is conjunct Saturn. So having the North Node in Gemini, right now, the nodes are going to be opposite what they were when you were born. So this might feel a little bit off. It might feel a little bit off. But here's what your job is in this lifetime. You have this mission in life to go and explore the truth, to go find and discover things that you are wanting to know more of. Sagittarius doesn't sit still. It goes out and it just searches and it reaches and it moves forward. And that's part of your journey, is to go find it, to go look for it. It's also it's a spiritual placement because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter and they both rule the 9th house of spiritual integration. So this is a sign ruled by spirituality. In a past life, when we look at the South Node, in the past life, you have been, Saturn is the teacher and so is Gemini. Gemini is also a teacher. But in the past, you've already reached, you've already talked, to people. You've already explored the world of the mundane. You've already explored the everyday world. You've communicated. You've understood. This is also in your 2nd house. So you've understood stability. You've understood what it's like to be stable. But in this lifetime, there's going to be a little bit of an instability for you to find the answers that you're looking for. Any hope of love or relationship in my chart? Well, then I would have to add the transits to it. But let's actually do that. What's interesting about that question actually is, remember when I was talking about Valerie's experience with Venus that is about to go retrograde? For all of us, it's going to be kind of a transit that puts things on hold when it comes to relationships. Okay, Noriko. Wonderful. I'll put you on the list. So we have room for one more. So let's look at what Venus is doing. So you see how the North Node is actually exactly conjunct your south node. And the south node right now is exactly conjunct your north node. Venus is going to be going retrograde in your second house of finances and your relationships when it in terms of material possessions. But when it goes retrograde, let me look at this for a second. It's going to retrograde back into your first house. So that's about you. That's focused on you. You become Venus in that sense. You become the goddess. And the goddess is about to go, like I said when I was reading Valerie's chart, the goddess is about to go into the underworld and is about to go through her own experience. And the experiences, looking through the things in your life that up to this point have not been working, what's been missing, what are the things that are needed, that I need to, this is questions you should ask yourself. What are the things that I need to let go of that will help me to transmute anything that like is not working out? And asking yourself the question of, because it's in your first house, of your sense of self, your self-identity, asking yourself, am I happy? Is this what I love? Like, do I love myself like this? Or are there certain things that I would like to change about myself? And when it goes back, exactly, when it goes back direct and then it comes back and then it meets with the North Node, that's more of like, it's not necessarily a romantic thing. It's more of like, if we think about it, it's more in terms of business relationships, because the second house is about business and finances. And Venus does rule like business relationships. So this is going to be a long Venus and Gemini transit. And so here's the thing, you know, when you said, I actually feel great, that's amazing. That's awesome. The transits don't necessarily make you feel bad or anything, but the change still happens, because obviously we know that like it depends on the perspective that we have on it, how that's going to affect us. Yeah, right. So I think it's going to affect more that than actual romantic way. Now, if Venus was like doing this transit in your 7th house, then I would say yes, it's definitely related to like love relationships, romantic relationships. But since she's going to be transiting your 2nd house, this is going to be more of a transit to think about in terms of business. And you'll know, because when you go, when you feel what comes up, you'll know what's wanting to be shifted in that world. Trying to see where Jupiter is. And Jupiter is transiting your 9th house of spiritual integration. And the reason I was looking for that is because Jupiter and Juno are the two also that are related to relationships, like the romantic kind, like marriage. And Jupiter's transiting your 9th house of spiritual integration. But Juno is actually, right now she's conjunct your natal Pluto. And in terms of like, so when you think of Pluto, so your Pluto is in Libra in the 6th house. So this is the house of work. It's also the house of being here in the moment. your power, like where you find your power is in your ability to like be here. And also where you find your power is in your ability to find balance in your life. Juno is, you know, transiting and hitting, you know, conjuncting your natal Pluto. So that's so interesting. I'm trying to figure out what exactly this would mean. Let me jump over here for a moment, because I just noticed this too. In the last maybe couple of years or so, Pluto has actually conjuncted your natal Venus, which may have caused power struggles within relationships in the past, like in the past few years. But now with Juno aspecting your point of power in the 6th house, it could be you taking back your power in terms of when it comes to like, what do you really want? When you think of a relationship, what do you really want for yourself? How would a relationship here in the moment reflect what I truly want? And how can I work towards finding that in my life, in the here and the now? Because this is the 6th house. So that's what I would say about relationship. Hopefully that helped a little bit. I don't know if it did. But a lot of the shifting that you have been doing this, you know, this year is in regards to career. Your career has been changing a lot. You also are having a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Saturn is conjuncting your natal Jupiter, so that's a lot of expansion in career. So again, focus now more on career and business. That's what I would say. Okay, so we're going to leave it at that. Honestly, I would recommend tarot for that. Okay. Cool. So, Dawn, we've got Dawn, Wendy, Jessica, and then Noriko. You're welcome, Sparky. And I think there's room for one more, but I'm going to go check the PayPal real quick. There we got. That's what we got. That's what we got. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciated. Ooh, tarot. For my aunt, Millie. Oh, how sweet. Maybe Spirit has a happy message for her. She needs some joy right now. What does her future after the virus look like? Yes, you can, Monica. There's room for one more on the list if you want to get on. The link is in the description. It's $25 sent to my PayPal. And then you'll be the last one on the list. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you would be the 5th one, and that would be the last reading. So is your aunt with you right now, Dawn? I love that, by the way. Let me put this away. Okay, what does Aunt Millie need to know right now? What does Aunt Millie need to know right now? What will life look like for her after the virus? What does the future look like after the virus? What does Aunt Millie need to know? It's really fun for me to switch between tarot and astrology, tarot and astrology. Okay, great. Hello, Aunt Millie. What she needs to know. Dawn. That's funny. Maybe Spirit has a happy message for her. And thank you to those of you that have signed up and that have yet to sign up. The last person that will get on the list for tonight. What else does she need to know? These are interesting cards that are coming out. Ooh, I like that. Let's get 2 more of these. One more. Oh, okay. You're gonna like this. Okay, let's see. Okay. Here we go. So right now, the first card that you got is the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is a card that represents feeling burdened. Like there's just a lot that's weighing down on you. You might be feeling that way right now. You are also, in a sense, you're being asked to... if you're thinking about, when you think about the future, what's going to work best to manifest what you want is to actually decide what you want. What do you want the future after the virus to look like? Because the next card that you get is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands has mastered her desire, has mastered the emotion or the element of fire, which is the element that helps you to take control over your willpower. But it is desire. It is, what do you want? This card is asking you, what do you want? You have to become very clear, and you have to master your, you have to sort of manifest your future by mastering your desire and becoming very clear about what it is that you want. This time for you right now, when you get the Six of Cups, can be a time where you're feeling very nostalgic. You're looking back at the past and seeing what in the past has felt really beautiful and lovely. And these are memories. These are memories. And they're coming up, but it's not like a sad thing. It's like a beautiful sort of like watching everything that's happened and everything, you know, that when things felt really amazing, this is what the energy is for you. So you're definitely doing that, like looking back at life that's coming up for you, obviously, because everyone's facing this sort of, in a sense, this energy of release or death or change. There's a lot of change going on right now. Death is a theme. Like everyone's talking about like how many people are dying and stuff like that. And so it's not a negative thing. But what I'm saying is that we're all being faced with it, and so it's causing us to think differently about stuff. And for you, it's creating this sort of nostalgic view of everything that's been going on in your life. And what I see you is actually in this card, the Three of Wands. She's sitting there looking off into the distance, and she's pondering. She's pondering the future. She's looking forward as well. So there is with the Six of Cups, there's a moment of looking back, but then there's a moment of looking forward. And if you're able to manifest, or at least become clear about what you want in your life, and turn and face forward, that is when you're going to start to manifest the abundance that you want in your life. And the abundance comes in the card of the Ace of Crystals, which is, it can mean different things. It can mean financial abundance. It can mean the beginning of something new in terms of the material world. So maybe possessions, a new path, grounding, because this is also the earth element. This is it's a new journey. It's actually a new beginning in the world of like the material possessions and the financial world. But there's a lot of pondering that I'm feeling with these cards. And it's also gentle. It's not like strong, forced. Nothing is like that. It's just you feel a little bit of a weight on you. To get rid of that feeling of that weight on you, you have to get very clear about what it is that you want the future to look like. And if you're able to look forward and know what you want, it's going to come that much closer to you, that new beginning of life. You know, the earth, the crystals is also the earth element, and you think of the earth and you think of the planet. So it's like another journey to start walking forward again on the planet. So these are 3 cards that I pulled, the oracle cards. Patience is really important right now. You have to have patience during this time. And when you allow yourself to let it flow like that and let things kind of unfold as they're supposed to, what we find on the other side of that is you got this card of delight and this cute little bird, which is about like birds sing and they express. And then you also have, which this is the card that I love the most, community. And the beautiful rainbow butterflies. So you can interpret that in whichever way you want. But this card, I feel like, speaks volumes. Because the butterfly is about transformation and change. The rainbow is like integrating the change. And community is about having people around you that love you and support you. So that's my favorite card of the whole reading. But hopefully you enjoyed that. Okay, so Wendy is next. Thank you guys, by the way. Let me check the PayPal real quick to see if we need to close the list. So we're still good. There's room for one more if somebody wants to sign up. So far we've got Wendy, Jessica, Noriko, and then room for one more if we need it. If not, that will be the last one. Transit, please, for current relationships / life situation. Okay. Okay. Hi, Magali. How's it going? Cool. Okay. So then the list is closed. Can you see your chart, Wendy? Let's see what we got. You know, the first thing that I noticed, Wendy, is this right here. The North Node transiting your 10th house in Gemini. South Node transiting your 4th house of the home. Changes in the home. Changing whatever doesn't work in the home. And focusing more on career. Venus is going to go retrograde in your 10th house. I wonder if she probably will move into your 9th house as she retrogrades and then go direct and then come back. So it's almost like the relationships that you need to focus on. This is going to sound like, it sounds backwards, but instead of focusing on home, you need to focus on career. You need to focus on the things that are going to move you forward, because the relationships that Venus is touching right now is the relationship of, it's not just career. We use career as this like blanket term, but it's actually how you show up in the world. That's what you're focusing on, how you show up in the world. And Venus is going to go retrograde, and she's going to ask you like the same questions I've been saying, but for you in terms of your career and how you show up in the world. Is this how I want to show up in the world? Is this, are these beliefs that I have, is this what I want to believe? Like, is this what I love? And if it's not, those are the changes that need to be made. But with the, you know, with when in terms of your current relationship and life situation, when I see the South Node transiting the 4th house, that means a lot of changes at home, in the house of home. So let's see what's going on in your 7th house of relationships. You've got Neptune transiting and also Chiron transiting it. Now, Chiron moves really, really slow. So he's probably been transiting your 7th house for a few like years even. And so in the 7th house, he's teaching you how to heal wounds that have been created through your relationships. Neptune in the 7th house can be one of two things. It can help you connect with your intuition when it comes to relationships, to help you decide what is the thing that works the best for you, using your intuition to find the answers. But it can also be a way of escaping. It's almost like it tends to make you want to escape what's going on and not actually deal with it. But again, when we think of Venus, it's like the focus really is right here in terms of relationships. It's how you show up in the world, and it's what do you believe in. Those two things are the key to healing yourself, and then realizing, where do you need to go from here? Where do you need to go from here in terms of life? Yes. Neptune is also, let me check something real quick. All right, so that's interesting. You've got Venus squaring Juno, transiting Venus square Juno. Okay, so that's actually pretty significant. So where do you see that in your chart? Transiting Venus square your Juno. And when we think of Juno as, you know, the asteroid of marriage, Venus is squaring that position, making it difficult, bringing up challenges to your current relationship. And as she goes retrograde, she's actually going to exactly square, because she's going to go back, right? And when she gets to 16 degrees, which is where your Juno is, it's going to intensify it. So right now, you're actually going through you're going to go through this. Venus will also hit this aspect of marriage for you. It'll hit, or a relationship, it'll hit in a way that will make you like make a decision of what it is that you really want. Is this what I want? Is this what I love? Let me see if there's anything else that pops out at me. Where is Jupiter right now? Jupiter is down here. He is actually, okay, he's doing this. Let me look at something else. That's not what I wanted to look at. Usually we look at all the squares, because the squares are what tell you what you're being challenged in right now. The moon right now, the moon moves pretty fast, but you feel that? Okay. The moon moves pretty fast, but right now, today, it's actually conjunct your Neptune in Sagittarius. So communication might not lead you to clarity. Communication might be like foggy, dreamy in a way. Like Neptune might like it makes it so you are very intuitive, but that's kind of already what's going on with you. But I think in terms of communication, it might feel like you're not really able to get across what you really want to say. There was one more thing. Or was it? Hang on. So where's Saturn? So these guys are actually squaring your, this whole thing right here, which is your South Node, Chiron, and Black Moon Lilith. She's laughing. And the changes, so the changes for you that have been going on for this year or so are changes that are happening in your house of creativity, and also children, and also like learning how to have fun. You are learning new ways to have fun in your life. Like you're speaking different languages. Okay. But these planets are also squaring your natal Chiron, and they're kind of squaring your South Node. And that's going to cause some tension too, in terms of big changes in your life. There is a big transformation that's definitely happening. I'm sure you're feeling it. You're already, you're going through your, your Uranus opposition. We've already kind of talked about that. But the cool thing about this is that you've got Uranus conjunct the North Node in your natal chart, which means that the Uranus opposition is like extra strong for you. This is, I hate to say it, but honestly what I'm seeing is like this Venus retrograde is going to help you finally figure out what it is that you really want. And that's where I would like end it, because I think knowing that in the next couple of months, you're going to go through some experiences that are going to help you finally realize what it is that you want is probably good news for you. Like it's good. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like this needs to come to a completion. The list is actually closed, Tanya. We just closed it. Okay, so Jessica is next. We've got Jessica, Noriko, and then Magali, and then that's it. That is the last reading of the night. And I do thank you, everybody, for being here. So you have to let me know if you want natal, transit, or tarot, and then also, good, Wendy, I'm glad. Thank you for doing this. I'm looking for a natal reading, please. Okay, so let's pull up your chart. (9:42 a.m.) Mangato. That's a new name for me. How do you spell Minnesota? Two N's, maybe? Yep, got it. Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's take a look at your natal chart. So 9/10/79. Oh wait, not, yeah, 9/10/79. September 10th, 1979. 9:42 a.m. Okay. Wow. Yeah, they are very similar. Very similar. Okay, so here's your chart on the screen. You do have Pluto pretty much conjunct your ascendant, which I was doing a chart earlier today, and that brings in a lot of like this essence of like like a lot of power. Pluto in the 12th house, though, because she's not in your first house, is actually in your 12th house, is insight into the occult, insight into things that are hidden. It's almost like a connection to the underworld, or to the unseen, to the unknown. You do have that Virgo stellium with Venus, Saturn, the Sun, Saturn, Mercury, and your North Node right there. and also Black Moon Lilith, Jupiter just kind of nearby. So that means that there's a lot of Virgo energy in your chart. And Virgo is the, you know, it's the need for things to be right. It's the need for perfection in your life. This is in your 11th house, so this could also mean that you've had a lot of friendships and you love sharing your gifts with the people around you. You love networking. It's also part of that energy. You do have Sun conjunct Saturn, which makes you a very serious person. We've seen this like a few times today. I don't know, it must be the serious night. But Sun conjunct Saturn is like, and it's an exact conjunction. It makes you very responsible and very disciplined in your life. And as you were young, when you were younger, you might have been treated like or looked at as if you were more responsible than the other kids of the same age. Your aspects are actually pretty cool looking. With Uranus oppose your moon, that creates a little bit of unpredictability when it comes to your emotions. And that's interesting because the moon is in its ruling sign of Taurus in your chart. And Taurus, it's exalted in Taurus. And it's conjunct Chiron, which activates a lot of your like mystical powers in your life. But they tend to be a little bit unpredictable. It's hard to predict like how you're going to feel and why because of that Uranus opposing your moon. Let's see what else I see. Mars in Cancer is an interesting placement. Mars would much rather be in Aries, where it feels like it can take action more determined than in Cancer. In Cancer, it might not be sure what to do, and it focuses a lot on their emotions. So what this means is that your drive and your desire to take action in the world, you base it off of your emotions. Like if it feels right, then you'll do it. But sometimes the backdrop of that is that the emotions can get in the way of taking action in your life. Part of your destiny, having that North Node in Virgo, is to find clarity in your life. It is to share and it's to be of service, really. Like to really be of service. Because you have Mercury right there, Saturn, the Sun, Venus. It's to be of service to the world in a way that like Virgo is a very loving energy. Virgos can be very, very loving. They're also very sensitive, and with Mars in Cancer, that adds to that sensitivity. But with the North Node in Virgo, it's like part of your job is to be of service and to channel and bring forth everything that you've learned that is of a mystical essence from a past life and share it with everyone. Share it with all of your friends. And a lot of this will happen automatically because you have all of that Virgo in your chart. It'll just be naturally occurring. It's not like you really have to try hard to do your North Node destiny because you have all of this Virgo. So it actually gives your North Node a lot of power. You are very focused on being out there in the world in this lifetime. Very, very focused. And that's what I see. So hopefully that was nice for you to have that reading. So we have Noriko next. Did you decide on what kind of reading you wanted, Noriko? So you were asking when you're going to meet the person of your life. That question is actually really, really detailed. And we do have a very powerful Venus transit that I could look at for you and give you some insight into where that Venus transit is happening in your chart, but I'm not going to be able to give you an exact date. It's just not possible because we have free will, right? I can give you insight into how the transit is going to affect your relationship life. You're welcome, Jess. And I can definitely look at that. If you want to do that, we can totally do that. I just want you to be aware that I can't give you an exact date. It's just not, it's not possible. You can only give like insight, because in the end, you choose and you pretty much create like what comes forth from by making decisions in your life. So you could bring something closer to you, or you can also push it away. So you tell me what you would prefer. We have Noriko now, and then Magali, and then that's our last one. And I really want to thank you guys for signing up tonight for readings. Next week, there's going to be, remember that next week there's a lot of planets going retrograde. You might start to feel like a little bit of that heaviness in our lives. Are you in here, Noriko? I'm going back and trying to see if I can find her comments. I would rather get current energy reading, I guess a transit reading. I want to know. Okay, let's do that. Let's actually go ahead and do that. And even if she's not here, she can come back and watch the replay. Okay. Born in Japan. So May 31st, 1979, 2:20 p.m., Morioka, Japan. Okay. Okay. Yes, of course. Thank you. Okay. She's coming. Okay, great. While you were coming in, I pulled your chart, so we can totally do that, because I was going to do that anyways. I was going to look at what Venus is doing in your chart, and we'll see what happens. So let me actually take a moment to look at your natal chart. North Node, Virgo, South Node Pisces, Sun, and Sun conjunct Mercury in Gemini. Jupiter conjunct the Moon in Leo in the 10th house. You also have, oh, it's like I'm looking at a very similar, all the charts tonight are crazy. Pluto conjunct your ascendant too. Venus in the 8th house in Taurus. Venus in Taurus is a good placement for Venus. Okay, so what is going on here? Venus is transiting your 9th house of spiritual integration. But during the retrograde, she's going to be moving back into the 8th house of change, transformation, death, rebirth, and she will actually be conjuncting your sun during the retrograde. So here's the thing. I'm going to go through a similar thing. So I'm going to tell you what this means for you. You have a Gemini sun, and it's in the 8th house. It's also conjunct Mercury, who is also in Gemini, who rules Gemini. So you have this powerful ability to really communicate, but to also tap into things in life that most people like to hide from. You're not afraid of those things. You actually want to dive deeper into them. You want to understand them. You want to talk about them. So when Venus retrogrades into your 9th house and then into the 8th house, she's going to ask you to look at your life in terms of what do you believe in? What are your belief systems? Also, are you willing to go into the underworld to face those things about yourself? Because this is the sun, this is a conjunction to your sun, to face those things about yourself that need to be changed. You are going to reclaim parts of yourself. And when you do that, you will find, it's interesting, you will find that you will figure out what it is that you truly, what are your powers, right? What are your powers in this lifetime? You were born with Venus in Taurus in the 8th house as well. It's not going to go all the way back into Taurus. It's going to stay into Gemini and then go direct and then keep going and move into Cancer. It's going to take a while, but these are the themes that are going to be coming up for you. So, relationships that are not working right now, they're going to fall away because of the 8th house and Venus moving symbolically in the sky into the underworld. We're not going to see her, and then going direct and appearing once again as the morning star. So it'll be a shift that has to do with endings and beginnings for you in the world of relationships. So if you take this time and you focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you love, what you don't love, and you make the shift and you make the change and you make a commitment to yourself to become the best version of yourself, so that you can actually be present for someone that is going to be the best version of themselves for you. So in essence, this is you becoming the best version of yourself so that you can actually attract that person that you want to be on your side. Many people say that you have to be who you want to be with, in a sense. Like, you have to be your best. If you want someone who's at their best, then you have to be at your best. And that means reflecting on yourself and finding your truth and finding your gifts and discovering who you are. And I think that this transit, if you go through the process and if you allow things to fall away that don't serve you, will actually be an amazing preparation for you for the future when it comes to relationships. And you're wanting to know the answer. But the answer is there's not a date, but there's a cycle. And the cycle is a cycle of death and rebirth. And once you go through that cycle, it is possible that you will be so much more yourself, so much more centered and so much more grounded in yourself, that you will attract what it is that you actually want. But you got to go through that phase. Good. Good. Okay. I'm glad that this is resonating with you. So that's the major thing when it comes to Venus. But it is going to be, it might not be pretty. It might not be pretty. You might release, you might, you know, you might be emotional, you might remember things from the past, you know, things about yourself that maybe you would like to change, that, you know, they're not, you're not the best expressions of you. This is the journey that you're taking. You are going to basically prove your worthiness to yourself. You have to, this is a journey of proving your worthiness to yourself. And I'm going to leave it at that because I feel like that really gives you a lot to work with. It's actually really exciting. Venus is going to conjunct exactly my sun. So I'm going to be kind of going through that too. Big shift and big, you know, eye-opening experience and stuff. So we've got Magali. She's last on the list. And again, thank you guys for being here and hanging out with me. Next week, I'll be uploading some videos, some pick-a-card readings for the retrogrades. It is really beautiful. I really enjoyed that reading. I really enjoyed that. I can't wait to take my dog on a nice little walk. It seems so nice outside. It's so hot in here. Exactly, Rebecca. You've got this. Love it. So let me know what your question is, Magali, and what kind of reading you want, and then also put up your information in the chat. So if you want a natal reading, then I can pull up your chart. Where were you born? Let's pull up your chart. Have you ever gotten a natal chart reading before, Magali? 5/18/86. I'm excited too. 1:30 a.m. Odessa. And if you're watching and you're new to the channel, or you're curious about learning astrology, I do have an astrology class that I just launched. The module 1 is available for purchase. So if you click the link in the description of the video, you will see, you will be able to find more information about that. Module 2 will be in June, and I'm very excited to continue the journey. And all you have to do is just purchase the class. It's only $33, and you get access to the 2-hour and 38-minute class that we did last Tuesday. And then for Module 2, you can join us live if you didn't get to join us live for Module 1. Okay. If you want to sign up for my newsletter as well, you can get your free moon astrology guide and a weekly moon magic report. All right, let's see. I don't really have a question. It's okay, you don't have to have a question. I'm just going to look at what I see. All good. Okay. Let's see what we got. So you're not familiar with your chart at all. Okay. So you've got Sun in Taurus, Moon in Virgo, Venus in Gemini, and you're an Aquarius rising. That Venus in Gemini, though. Only reason I'm saying that is because of that retrograde. You might feel it pretty strongly. You might be going through a similar experience right now. Shifting and really like getting to know yourself a little bit better in terms of relationships, but in terms of you as the feminine, right? As the sacred divine feminine. Oh, okay, got it. So Sun in the 4th house makes it so that you like to focus on family. You like to focus on home. Moon in Virgo in the 7th house is the house of relationships. So the moon in Virgo is inviting you to access the knowledge from the beyond, access the knowledge from the realm of the hidden, the mystical. There's a lot of aspects here, and I would really have to look at this deeper. You almost have a grand square, but you don't, it's not exact. It's not exactly, but you do have a T square here. And then there's another one here. It involves Jupiter, Chiron, Black Moon, Lilith, Venus, Uranus, and then Juno and Saturn. And this is, so these T squares are going to create some challenges in your life for you to move through, some obstacles in your life for you to resolve. And the obstacles have to do with your relationships, with, you know, your creativity, your house of the home, with finances, with how you show up in the world and how you share your gifts with the world. Those are all big lessons in life for you. You do have Saturn in the 10th house of career, and having Saturn rules the 10th house, so he's at home here, which means this makes you very ambitious. And he's in Sagittarius, which means that your ambition is you want to explore new worlds. So, but you do have Scorpio at the cusp of your 10th house. So when it comes to career or how you show up in the world, this has to do with you want to dive deep and you want to know the answers, and so you go on a journey to find the answers. And it's symbolic and it can be literal. It can be you literally go on a journey, or it can be symbolically you go on a journey and discover yourself through your mind, through your emotions, through experiences that you've had. You have the North Node in Aries in your 3rd house, and the South Node in Libra in your 9th house conjunct Pluto. That's a little bit of an intense aspect, because when you have so what you've known in a past life and what you've been comfortable with in a past life is, first of all, there's been a lot of drama in terms of relationships, karmic relationships, power struggles in terms of relationships. However, you have been addicted to, almost codependent to being with someone else. Your identity became someone else, became the relationship. And so you might have relationships in your life, in this lifetime, that tend to mirror this, because that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you're used to. But you're supposed to move away from that, and you're supposed to move more towards independence. That's the North Node in Aries. You're supposed to do it your way. You're supposed to be more independent in life, and it has to do with your throat chakra, with expressing your truth. You have to express your truth, and if you're not allowed to be independent, you'll just keep falling back to these, these cycles. South Node conjunct Pluto is a cycle. It's an addictive cycle. It's power struggles in relationships. It's identifying yourself with something that's not you. It's not you. What is you, this life, which you're supposed to learn, it's found over here, all the way on the other side of that. So that means walking away and not being afraid of releasing those relationships that do not serve you, and releasing the need to identify and be attached to someone outside of you for your own inner strength. Because it's not going to come from you. It's going to come, it's not going to come from that outside of you. It's going to come from within you. And so that's why you have to focus on yourself and being independent and speaking and expressing your truth in this life. And you are ruled, because you're an Aquarius rising, you're ruled by Uranus. And look at this. Uranus is in its home house, in its ruling house of the 11th house of friends and sharing your gifts with the world. And he's also in Sagittarius, just like Saturn. And Uranus is all about being unique. And Uranus rules the Aquarian age. And he's in a sign that is an exploration. Part of you, the uniqueness of you is to have these symbolic journeys in your life and to go discover truth, and then to bring it back and share it with the world. And that's your gift, is the wisdom. It's the knowledge that you gain in your life. And there's a lot of oppositions here and stuff, and so I'd have to do like a more in-depth chart reading to really get the relationship and the conversations that are going on with all these planets. But I think that probably gave you a lot, since this was your first reading ever. So I'm going to pause there and let you digest that. But know that there is also a lot more going on. I know, right, Wendy? There's a lot more going on. And you do have Venus in Gemini, which means that this is a transit. This retrograde is going to affect you intensely as well. Yeah, all of us, but maybe more so because you were born with Venus in Gemini. I was too. Yeah, right? So thank you for signing up for a reading. And remember, you guys, if you did sign up for a reading tonight, that you will get, I've got the list right here, and you will get added to the drawing, the monthly drawing for, it can be an astrology reading or a tarot reading. I haven't decided yet, but we will do that one in the beginning of June. We'll find out who won for May. Of course not, Magali. Of course not. You're welcome. Don't be scared. That's what you have to learn, to stop being scared and be independent. That's the lesson. That's a pretty big one, but that's the lesson, is to stop being afraid of what you don't know. So I will let you guys go, and I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be uploading some videos, retrograde videos of Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter. If you want to know more information about the transits that are going to continue through the end of June, basically till the summer solstice, even beyond that, then check out the spring webinar class that I did. There's a link in the description for it. It's only $10. It's a $10 video, and I will email you the video. You'll also get, if you pay through PayPal, you'll get directly sent to the video. So make sure you save that link. Otherwise, I will also email you the link so you can have it and watch that. I think it was like a 2-hour video, something like that. Jam-packed with a lot of information about all the transits that are going on through the end of June and how they're going to affect you. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. Thank you to everyone that signed up. You really, seriously, by doing this for me, you really keep this channel going. You really keep me being able to continue to provide more content, and to also be able to continue to be available for you guys for those more intense readings and, you know, for the courses that I'm planning. So these Friday nights have really brought on a lot of value for me personally in my life, so that I can continue just turn that right back around and offer more for you guys. So I appreciate your support more than you will ever know. And if you ever want to sign up for a private reading with me, you can. There's a few options of readings that you can look at more information of on my website. And make sure that you do sign up for the astrology course, Aquarian Astrology, if you want to learn how to do these readings on your own. Yeah, you're welcome. Good night, everyone. Thank you to all the moderators, Wendy for being in here and Rebecca for being in here. And I will see you guys soon. So have a great weekend and good night. Sat Nam.